This is a good place to start. Welcome to the Eon Future Health Podcast. I think this is a really exciting one because this is a person that needs no introduction.
I do need. It's Jess. Hey, there you go. That's easy.
So it's Jess. We're going to leave it at that. No, Jessica Janzen. I mean, you're an author, you're a philanthropist, you're a mother, you're a hard worker, you're a former fitness. I mean, there's so much in your repertoire. But why don't you take a few minutes to maybe just give like the 20,000 foot overview about who you are?
Okay. I also just want to preface the crew that's shooting this. They're like, you have to take out your blue gum. I was like, y'all, I can't. Like, I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD. I'm not taking it out. So if you hear the schmacking, I've given you the warning. I'd also like to make note somewhere you need to put this in that I was not aware that this was going to be this big of a deal. And I'm like, I'm repping another fitness brand. My sweatshirt's dirty. Why, Justin? Were you in this? Anyways.
I know. Listen, if you're listening in the audio version, you got to check out our YouTube channel and see what she's talking about because I'm sorry.
You know, warning.
It's a production.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful to be here. Next time, I will not just wear a hoodie and my workout clothes. It's like, I'll just work out and then I'll go into the thing because we're just going to record. So I'm Jess. I love chewing blue gum. That's my signature move. I would one day love to be sponsored by this company because I go through a lot of gum in my household. But you said it. I mean, a wife, mother to 3, small business owner, speaker, author, coach, philanthropist. That's a high level. At the heart of it, I'm a woman that wants to help others access abundant joy. I do that through my work and through our charity foundation that my husband and I founded. I'm born and raised just outside of Winnipeg. My parents are a farming family. And then I moved to Calgary 17 years ago. And this is where I call home. I'm obsessed. I love the city. I love the people in it. I love the community. And you can see me bouncing around or follow me on Instagram to see all the crazy because no day's ever the same, which is what I love.
And we'll get to your journey with Eon in a little bit. But longevity is nothing without taking care of your mental health, your physical health, your relationships. And that's what I really wanted to bring you on for the podcast for, is to really go deep about how it's a holistic thing. It's not just take these supplements and everything is solved, or take
lose this weight and you're all of a sudden better.
Correct.
Like people, how many times have we heard people say, I lost the weight and I was still unhappy? For me, it comes down to 4 things. There's your physical health, like working out, feeling good, taking care of your body. There's your mental health. And even more so, I've really started geeking out on brain health, like what does that look like? And now every time I go to like have a glass of wine or someone offers me a drink, I'm like, gosh, this really isn't the best thing for me. I think there's, a rhythm and flows and seasons. So you've got your physical, you've got your mental or brain health. Then you've got your emotional health and talking about emotional range and processing that. And I think so many sicknesses can be stemmed from. I even have one day, I should see if you can get this picture, but it's a picture of like this foot fungus thing that I got. And there was no cause of it other than I think it was stress trapped in my body and I didn't know where to go. And it was the weirdest and grossest thing. I had sausage feet with blisters, could barely walk, but like that's such a thing. And last but not least, I think there's our soul health. So like there's this wide breadth. And I think too, the reason why I started at Eon and I was so excited to be here was I really wanted to optimize my health. I think lots of people are in good-ish health, but I'm like, how do I optimize so I really can bring the best to my everyday? And it's not just one thing. It's like this, for me, it's this 4-prong approach of, physical, mental, soul, and emotional health. How am I taking care of myself and those relationships around me?
So I want to go back. Like, obviously, this has been a journey to figure out those 4 prongs and everything like that. But go back to when you were on that farm outside of, Winnipeg and everything. Like, what kind of kid were you? Like, what did it look like for that kind of stuff?
Yeah. There's this joke in the family. I for sure got spoiled because I had 2 brothers. So I was typically in the kitchen with my mom. We all helped out around the farm in many ways, but my brothers obviously gravitated towards like the equipment and I gravitated towards helping my mom. Very traditional farm roles, especially. I remember this one time my dad's like, hey, can you drive the combine to the next field? And, when you're driving large equipment from one area to the next, typically you'll have someone following in a truck with their flashers on. And my grandpa was on the radio the whole time. And My combine was 3 times the width of him. You could just not see a clue in front. But whoa, slow down, whoa, too fast. And, just like that, like such a generational gap of where we are today and redefining that. So I would say I grew up in a very like traditional home, a loving family. My grandparents married. My dad's, mom and dad married for over 60 years. My mom's parents married for over 60 years. We went to church on Sundays. We grew up Mennonite, but not super strict. We had one TV with bunny ears. Like, it was pretty simple, and I love that. Like, you wear hand-me-down clothes. I got bullied as a kid in both elementary, junior high, and high school. I really struggled with mental health. And it's weird because you look at me and you're like, oh my gosh, you're so joyful. I still battle this out. And I had a meeting with someone from your team here, one of the doctors, and in spring of this year of 2020, in 2023, I was like, I'm not okay. Like, I'm like, something's not firing. I'm depressed. I'm not okay. And like, that's where I'm really learning to listen and tune into my body. But in high school, I really struggled with suicide ideation. And I did attempt suicide in grade 11. And thankfully, my mom found me right away. I'd overdosed on a bottle of pills and rushed me into the hospital in Winnipeg. And so I grew up with this amazing family, but I think there's some things in my brain that weren't wired, and I felt like different on the outside. And now there's language for it. Like, I'm neurodivergent. I have ADHD. The way I process or show up, or I can't sit still, I feel way more comfortable in my body. But for a long time, like, people would be like, oh, you're razzle dazzle and your energy's crazy and don't be too loud, or lots of times very strong females growing up will be told, don't be too bossy. Mm-hmm. Don't shine too bright. And it's not that my parents ever asked me to dampen, but the words like, don't be too bossy. And I came from a loving spot. It's not like they were trying to be mean. They're just trying to make sure I was inclusive and, allowed everyone a turn. So interesting growing up. I think I fought the roles of like how I fit in, and that my brothers kind of had their role in the farm. And I was like, to the kitchen you go. I had a wild imagination. I would make up TV shows while I do chores on the farm and be like, one day I'm going to have my own show in Hollywood. And then I went to college. I hated it. I struggled so much through it because school's not wired for someone that learns like me. I think the professors basically were like, graduate, get out of here. And I took a chance on an opportunity in Calgary. I'd broken up with my boyfriend who lived a mile down the road, and we had been on again, off again. And I just remember breaking up with him and being like, if you break up, like, we've done this a lot. I really remember standing in my worth in that moment, being like, if you break up, I won't trust that we can actually make this work, because we've done this so many times. And he was like, I'm done. And so literally 4 months later, packed my bags, moved to Calgary. And then again, you struggle to find your footing, and you're trying to make this a home, and I didn't know anybody. I came here, $300. I used a line of credit and credit card, so stupid, so dumb. And my dad, I remember they bought me tools as my housewarming gift. I was like, you did that because it's a farm write-off. It wasn't a new TV or new clothes or whatever. Sure. And it's been a journey the last 17 years, but I met my husband. I found my voice. I've built community here, and I love this city.
So how do you go from, the traditional roles on a farm, having a loving family, but almost being told that there's certain roles that you need to fit, and you need to fit in a certain way, to branching out to where you are today? How did you discover that voice? What would you credit a lot of that to?
It's a great question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. I would attribute it to 2 things. One is my faith, and I'm very open about that. Just having a security and just a peace in who I am and how I was created to be. And number 2 is being around good people who believe in you. Jason Kelce, I know, big hot topic, obviously Taylor Swift, Travis Swift, Kelce Swift, all this. But Jason Kelce has a quote, and when he finishes his documentary, he says, the best gift that you can ever give someone is belief in themselves. And that really stood out for me, because in these points along my life, I think there's been people who have had this deep-seated belief in me, so that when I didn't have belief, I could keep going. And so I would attribute to this beautiful life that I've built that has not been easy. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's been really freaking hard, but it's also really friggin' awesome, has been because of community and people's belief. And then because of investing in therapy, working out, being around people whose energy bring you up, not bring you down, I have started to have this deep-seated belief in myself that I'm like, no, you're where you're meant to be. No, it's okay. I was just on a retreat and one of my really good friends was there and I've lived with her and we've been roommates and, 20 years of friendship and, heartache and all of these things. And in front of a group of women, she apologized. She's like, we made so much fun of you when we lived together. And she's like, I so understand that it's like you're neurodivergent and you process your brain's winds differently. Like we didn't have language for it 25 years ago. But like good people have come alongside me and been like, oh, you're not weird or crazy or different. You're just Jess. Keep being Jess. And when those people foster that, it helps you come alive and continue to be the most authentic version. And the more real I am then when I'm not trying to dampen who I am or to fit in or to make other people feel comfortable, the better my life is.
Was there ever a point in your life where you felt that you didn't give yourself permission to be who you were?
Oh, for sure. Even sometimes now, like I'm very active on social media. You can follow me at the Jessica Janzen on Instagram. I'd love to be on TikTok, but I cannot keep up. There's too many damn platforms with Threads and LinkedIn and all the things. But even now, I'll catch myself and being like, oh my gosh, if you do that, people are going to think you're too much. Or, ooh, like, I wonder what, like, and I have to stop myself. So for me, it's almost like a daily practice of like, no, you're just going to be your most authentic self and people can have opinions or judgments or talk behind your back and that's their issue and you don't need to worry about it. So it's been a lifelong practice, but definitely there's been a shift. And I mean, to bring it back to Lewiston, our second child passed away from a rare genetic disease. And I remember on the 1-year anniversary of his passing, I remember the exact spot. I was driving on the Caffro Bridge on Deerfoot. And it was like, it's like, why have you been playing small this whole time? Like comfortable, small, like you're just do the thing, like keep it, like you can dream big, but don't dream too big or like, oh, it's not going to happen. And now, like, I would call them Oprah-sized dreams where I'm like, let's just do the thing. Like, I want to be the lady writing the checks, doing the things, like being like, you need 10 grand to do the thing because you have this idea and like you've had some tough go. Let's write the check and let's do the thing. And so in that moment when I was driving on the bridge, it was like, stop playing so small. I just was like, my son lost his life. And in that, it was absolutely hard and horrible and terrible as it is. I feel like I found mine. Like I found my voice. And so that's one of the things I want to inspire people. It's like, why do we wait for death to be knocking at our door to like really unlock who we are, what we're meant to do, how we're meant to show up in the world? I don't want to encourage you to be me. Don't be me. It's exhausting and it's probably not for you. Be you. And I'm going to be me. And the more I'm me, the better it is. And I would just say the more you're you. So this is never a message about be more like me. It's a message of just like be the best version of yourself.
So we are here today, early December.
Yeah.
I know November 22nd is a big day for you.
Yeah.
Are you able to share a little bit more about Lewiston and how maybe you've been inspiring other people to work through their grief?
So in 2016, we delivered a healthy baby boy, and I say we, I did all the frickin' work. Like my husband gets no credit for that. He rubbed my back and held my hand and like got me like red Gatorade. I did all the frickin' work there. So we have this amazing little baby boy. I pushed 3 times. He was out. Like I'm just like, boom, nurses, break my water, gonna, go into the shower and I'll labor and I'm gonna push this baby and it comes out. Literally, that's exactly what happened. And so we get home from the hospital the same day. I'm at home watching NHL, Western hockey, like playoffs. We're doing the thing. We're eating pizza. I'm sitting in a diaper holding a newborn baby and my in-laws are watching the hockey game, like wild. So you just think like you're just like through it. And at the 2-month mark, Lewiston goes limp and he was also really colicky. So we took him to a chiro to see if that was a thing. And she identified labored breathing, mottled skin, and that she didn't want to treat him for the colic. That's the reason why I'd gone into a chiro. And so we spend the next 6 days in the Winnipeg hospital. We were visiting my family in Winnipeg. And so we spent the next 6 days there. No answers. Come back to Calgary. We do all the same tests, everything on repeat. And the doctor here at Alberta Children's Hospital goes, I'm really sorry, but we think your son has spinal muscular atrophy. I'm like, okay, no big deal. 99% of the people have not heard of it because it's a rare genetic disease. I was like, no biggie. I've now helped this family for 9 years. We had just finished fundraising $44,000 for a wheelchair accessible van. And I was really familiar. This family had 2 kids, a Sean and Shania. I'm still friends with them. They're amazing. And they're now in college. But they were told life expectancy of high school. They've obviously surpassed that. And so I was like, okay, we'll need a wheelchair accessible van. They're in wheelchairs full time. They can't walk. Their bodies robbed of movement. But I wasn't thinking anything more than wheelchairs need an accessible van. We're going to get the blue handicap pass, and I'm going to need like a ramp to get into our house. But what the doctor said to us next was where our life like got the lid flipped off of it. And the doctor said, we're really sorry. There is no cure, no treatment, and there's nothing we can do. We don't think he'll make his first birthday. We're really sorry, but because he's been diagnosed so early, we're just going to be here, and our role will be to keep him comfortable. And so you're like, okay, cool. Fall to the floor, bawl a million tears, feel like the weight of the world is on you. Like, they've got to be wrong. You're like in denial. Like, we want to get a second opinion. You go through all of that. And we received the most incredible care at the Alberta Children's Hospital. It brings me to tears to think about the incredible people, everybody from the unit clerks and the managers to the people cleaning the room to we had the head of maintenance come in and have dance parties with us. Every single bit of our experience was beautiful, and it was because of the staff and the medical team and the nurses and the doctors who did absolutely everything, even though there was almost nothing that they could do medically wise. And so we spent 4 months kind of bouncing between the unit and ICU, and eventually we landed in Rotary Flames. It's one of only 7 children's hospices across Canada, and we spent our last days with our son there. And a part of us held out on belief that we could like maybe go home. But man, just as he would get good, like something would shift, and he kind of had like a crash about a week before November 22nd. And in that moment, he flatlined, and my husband wasn't there. And I was like, I made them beg our son. I was like, he can't die like this. He can't die because he choked on something. And so the team resuscitated, and we had to have a really tough conversation of like, hey, this is not a resuscitation facility. This is a hospice. And we made the decision that if Lewis didn't have fight, we'd have fight as a family. And if he didn't have fight, like we had to be okay to let him go. And I mean, we probably could have done a million and bajillion surgeries, and you can trach and you can do all these crazy things, but man, he was just fighting for every breath. And so to watch your kid fight for like the next breath and to watch them, it was hard. And so we made peace with that decision. And a week later, we knew he was done his fight. And so with the amazing team at Rotary Flames, they helped us give him, honestly, the most peaceful, beautiful, challenging, crazy death experience that you can have. And we're just so grateful for the people that poured in and helped care for it, and the community. And that's really when I saw a community at really finest. Our family did. We just decided to make our journey public on social media. That's why I started on social media. I really wasn't on it for any other reason. And then it was just the easiest place. Like, you post a picture and you write a thing. There wasn't like trying to code a website or trying to figure out a blog. I'm not techie at all. And this community of strangers just showed up. Like, people would be dropping off packages of homemade gluten-free baked muffins and these kind things and special veggie trays for our daughter. And I just was blown away by strangers' kindness. They just wanted to help. Friends took care of our yard work and, winterizing our home because we were in the hospice. And so it was a wild journey, and the doctors were right. There was nothing they could do. A lot has changed with spinal muscular atrophy in 7, almost 8 years since our son has passed, which is so cool. Like, I believe in my lifetime we'll see a cure. And kids that were dying, like my son, they're now getting they're born. They're able to get diagnosis. We funded a pilot project here in Alberta, which helped, ripple across Canada, that now every baby in Canada is now screened for this disease. So you get a heel prick. Please get your children newborn screening. They screen in every province for different diseases, but every province includes spinal muscular atrophy. And now there's not one, not two, but there are 3 incredible treatments. So Lewiston was just born a little too early. But the science, the technology, and how they're able to help these families, and kids that were dying are now downhill skiing. I have friends, that little girl was on skis. She's 3, and she was downhill skiing on Grouse Mountain last year. Like crazy.
Yeah. I want to touch on something you said a little bit about the community aspect. But before we get there, like, I think we need to just pause and say the work you have done for this cause has been inspirational to see. How much have you raised to date?
I think, and don't quote me on this, but I can confidently say 2.2 million, but I really hope that by the end of this year we can say $2.4 million in 7 years. And it's pretty badass, because it's literally been like dollar by dollar, cent by cent, some really large checks, but lots of little checks, and $20 donations from strangers on the internet. So if you are a stranger on the internet and you've ever donated, thank you, because like it truly has been life-changing work. And a lot of the funds also go back into our local hospital, some mental health stuff, some other stuff, but also we help fund families that kids are living with it, or adults where like part of their wheelchair isn't covered, or they need a ramp to get into their house, or they want to do physiotherapy, but it's $10,000 for the year. Like, I don't got $10,000 kicking in my bank account to do physiotherapy for my kid that should just be playing soccer and having fun and running outside with their friends. So we've been able to make incredible impact because of community.
And let's touch a little bit more on community, because we know that's for holistic health, that is so important. You may see headlines nowadays too of like people are feeling more isolated than ever, more lonely, right? So talk to me about like not only the power of community that you've seen, but like if somebody's feeling stuck and they don't feel they have that community, like what would you say?
So it's crazy. This is one of the number 1 topics that I'm getting asked as a speaker. So I speak for a living. That's how we pay our mortgage. It's one of my favorite things to do. And companies and organizations and businesses are coming and saying, our people are feeling disconnected. If you follow Dr. Jody Carrington, she has a whole movement on like reconnection, and it's amazing. So if you're needing some like, and she's an actual doctor, so you could follow her for very sound advice. She's also hilarious and swears a lot. So go check out Dr. Jody Carrington. But the practical things that I can tell people to do is get in community. And someone was saying, I just feel like I'm always left out. I don't feel like I'm included. And I said, okay, you gotta stop sitting on the sidelines. Like, unfortunately, no one's gonna do it for you. I'm just gonna call a spade a spade. Number 1 is show up for others how you want them to show up. Okay, great. Some people are like, I've done that and then I've gotten burnt. Guess what? We give generously and we expect nothing. I'm going to just give generously, and maybe it's going to work, or maybe you're just going to totally take it and run. That's for you to figure out, not for me. And this one has been a long time lesson learning. I have lots of like hurt and like, but I did the thing and then they didn't include me. And I thought because I did like, stop it. We're grown adults, like do the thing. And so now when I show up, I'm just going to give generously, expect nothing. Now it's different in business, that like where you have a contract and clear guidelines. I'm talking about building community with friends and people, that deep rootedness. And the second thing that I always tell people, besides get into community and like show up for others how you want to show up and then give generously, expect nothing, is go to group fitness. Here's why. Group fitness is like-minded people who want to better their freaking life. And a lot of my closest friends have come from group fitness. Yeah. And I was like unpacking this and I'm like, yeah, because they care about their lives. They care about their health. They're carving out time and they know how to prioritize. So when you start going and you're like, oh, people are like, oh, where'd you meet? Honestly, my answer is either Instagram, because people have supported, or group fitness. Yeah. Like my closest, nearest, and dearest friends. That's where. Or you meet people at work. So find the people that are doing the stuff that you want to do or that you dream of doing. And if you're not great at it, just put yourself out there. And the right people will come alongside you and rock your world.
I'm really curious, your journey with what happened with your son, how did that affect your marriage?
How long we got? Oh, man. Okay, I'm married to Hot Ronnie. So if you follow me on social, and literally people will come up to him now and be like, oh my gosh, it's Hot Ronnie. And I think you could collectively agree
Oh, yeah.
he's hot. He is.
He's a handsome gentleman.
You posted a thing today on social and he didn't write Hot Ronnie. And so on mine, I reposted and I wrote the words Hot Ronnie. So I'm married to Hot Ronnie. He was the guy in my office. We're polar opposites. He's quiet, shy, and private. Yet when that guy comes alive, like he puts me to shame. Like people are like, what? I had no idea that could come out of Ronnie. It's just that I shine really bright. So he just like takes a like laid back role. He's the funnest guy. So we've been married now for 10 years. We got married in July 2013. And my husband has a crazy story. It could be turned into a movie, honestly, but he's lost 2 dads, both to car accidents. He overcame a drug overdose on meth. He was battling drug and alcohol addiction. And he has been off of drugs, drug-free for 11, maybe 12 years now, which is 13, 14, almost 14 years. Like, I mean, hot dang, the guy's done the work. And you want to talk about someone that will like roll up their sleeves and do the work, that's it. But we didn't start off on just like this perfect like world. We got married 6 months later. His dad gets into a car accident, dies in Mexico. It's a whole schmozzle. We then get this insane bill of $18,000. We're not making ends meet. He's starting up a new business. Like we have no idea what we're doing. And thankfully my parents are amazing. And I like ran away from my husband. And I didn't even have money to buy the flight. I had to ask mom and dad to put me on a flight. And my dad's like, I think this is just a miscommunication and we need to like figure this out. So we communicate and figure it out. And then when stuff with Lewiston happens, that was 3 years in. We are really united in tragedy and in the pressure cooker. But I think it's in the aftermath that we both process so differently. So I would say the first 2 years were really, really, really hard. I needed to express my grief outwardly, and mine was very public. I used Instagram as a journal. I cried on Instagram. I shared the things I wanted to do. I talked lots about it. And Ronnie just wanted to keep everything safe and close. And so you think your way is the right way. You don't get why they're not doing it the way you're doing it. Like after Lewiston died, we went to Hawaii, just him and I, and he brought like grief books and he wanted to roll up and sit in a room and like be doing, and I'm like, what the actual? No. And so we're very different that way. We've invested in therapy. In 2018, I put our business bank account into overdraft to go to a marriage conference, and that for us was a shifting moment. My mom came in and looked after our daughter, and Ronnie was so mad at me. It was the first time we'd ever put our business bank account now in withdrawal. Now it's there all the time. So it's just really common for us. You know, I'm like, honey, I've got another investment. I'm sure we'll make it back and everything's going to be fine. And he's like, oh God, like when is this going to end, Janzen? But like I made that investment and he goes to me, this, I'll never forget it. He goes, I'm so mad at you right now. And I can't believe you did this without asking me and you just did it without my permission. And like, it just doesn't make any sense. But he was like, I will go all in with you. And he really did. At the marriage conference, he unleashed it all. He said that he was mad that we started a foundation. He said that he was mad at SMA. He was mad that I would pour so much time into something that robbed us of having our son. And so we were just like in such different areas. And what we've both learned is like communication is friggin' key. We both want to grow together, but it's going to look different because of how we're wired, what makes us tick, what works for us. And a lot of therapy. It was our therapist who, like, when she identified, and even I just got diagnosed with ADHD in the last few years, so we didn't have language even for 10 years. For me, I need all these dopamine hits, and for me, that's like in how I dream. Even when I'm dreaming, that's a dopamine hit for my body, and I can't access dopamine the regular way that, you know, people that don't have ADHD do. And so if you don't understand that, people are like, you're freaking crazy. But for me, I just need to speak it out loud. And the therapist was like, just let her dream. That's part of her dopamine hits. And she goes, it doesn't mean you have to do it or you'll figure it out or it's actually going to happen. And I think when she gave Ronnie that permission, he kind of was like, oh, we're going to be okay. Like, okay. And also I'm like, no, but for real, we're actually going to go do the things. Yeah. And so it has been a journey. It's been a lot of heartache. Even just last year, a year ago, in fall, we were at each other. We weren't even talking to each other, communicating. And it kind of like blows up in your face. Like you're living with your children. We're not even talking. We'd sit at the dinner table and be in the same bed. Neither of us wanted to go downstairs to the guest bedroom because we have a really comfortable mattress. I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. And it just was come to head. And I had to say to him, you have to figure out your shit. And then he was like, well, guess what? I need you to do this because I can't function with this happening. And so it's like knowing what battles to really press into and what stuff you got to let go of. And so, I mean, we had a battle yesterday. I was like, hey, so you're going to fix the leaking shower that's been like this for 3 months? He's like, why would I? He was like, if I do it, it's not going to be the right thing that you would do. I was like, woo, touche. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just call it. Like, I was just waiting for him to do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, why am I going to do it? You're going to criticize it. You're going to tell me it's wrong and it's not good enough.
Yeah.
So you freaking do it. I was like, okay, I'll freaking do it because I like my way anyways.
Totally.
Like, this is marriage. It's like learning to like, and now we laugh about it. And he's really good. Like, if I'll start losing my ever-loving mind, he just starts making fun of me in a way that then like I start just laughing. So I'd say like, learn to have fun, learn to let it go. Like our kid died. There's hard things. Like, is the shower and the faucet and that whole thing, is that really worth, like, being mad at each other for? No, it's like, I'm an idiot. I should have just freaking taken care of it in the first place because I'm not going to like how he does it anyways because I'm a dick.
Totally.
Like, yeah.
No, I just question about the timeline there. So from when Lewiston to that retreat.
That was 2 years.
2 years. So.
A year and a half.
So a year and a half to hold on to something like that too, right? And that's the thing about grief and like takes time and it manifests in a different way.
And at year 3, I lost it on him. At year 3, he went to work on November 22nd, the day our son passed. He went to work that day. I was pregnant with our third child, which was amazing. My daughter's at preschool. We're living in our friend's home, which was beautiful and amazing and such a gift and a blessing. But I'm on the floor, mad at my friends for not calling and recognizing the day, feeling utterly alone. And then like Ronnie came home at 5, was like, well, what's for dinner? I was like, are you bad? I'm going to run after it. And so like we like talked about it and I'm like, okay, here's what I need. I need this day to be recognized and I don't want to have to cook dinner. Because the last thing I can think about on the day that my kid died is like, I don't know. Do you want roast beef or spaghetti and meatballs? Like, are you kidding me? And I also don't want to clean up the friggin' dishes, which is a blessing because that's such a gift to be able to have dishes in a kitchen to clean. And so we're like, okay, this is what we need. And so we started riding water slides. And we started when our daughter was really young. And now it's like the best day ever. We are just us as a family. There's zero expectations. We eat out every meal and we just ride water slides. I'm like, I don't know, try to be sad and ride a water slide. It's pretty impossible. And this year I made a family, we're matching bathing suits and like, it's about the ebbs and flows. The grief is never going to go away. I will never be over my son. I will never be over that loss. I'm never over the loss. Like I grieve when I see families of 3. Like it just makes me want to weep because I'm grieving the loss of a family that I thought I'd have 4 kids and I'd be driving Suburban and beep, beep. Like here comes soccer mom and I got the pail of orange slices. And now I'm like not there at all. Yeah. And so it's wild and crazy, but we still are in the hard things. I think we have better language, better tools. We know when we need therapy. We're both in therapy on our own. I have a coach. He hasn't gotten a coach yet. I would love for him to have a coach because I'm like, therapist helps us deal with the past and a coach is, helping you for the future. That's why I coach. So it's been a journey, but both of us also do a really good job of taking care of ourselves health-wise, which has also made us better. Like for a long time, it was like, oh, we don't have money. I can't afford a gym membership. It's just, blah. And it was like, spend the money, do the thing, because that will be the thing that keeps us sane. So honoring what that person needs. Like on a Sunday, Ronnie felt so guilty for going to want to work out and have a massage. And now I'm just like, I'm going to go book the thing. I need this. Otherwise, I'm going to turn into a basket case. And I'm like, do the thing. I fully support it. Because if it's going to help you show up better, then I want you to have that time.
You touched a little bit on fitness too. So your journey as a fitness instructor, you've done spin for a long time and everything, but you're staying active here at Eon too. You've been here doing the strength training. So talk a little bit about your fitness, how like there was a picture of your gun.
See the gun show? Yeah, right.
I mean, we saw that on social media the other day, but yeah, talk about how your strength has changed over the past 2 years.
I've never had muscle definition until here. Like I haven't, and it's so friggin' incredible. So I've been here just over 2 years now, and it's been a journey. And I think some people see me now and they're like, okay, I want that. And I was like, just so you know, Susan, I didn't start seeing results until 6 months. And I think people started noticing around the 8-month mark, like really noticing, like, whoa, like what's different? And I was decently healthy. I taught fitness. I taught spin and Legree, like a Pilates type workout here in Calgary. Massive shout out to that business. They're incredible business owners, and I think it's a great workout. And then, I mean, 3 kids, your body's different, all the things, like what worked in your late 20s does not work in your late freaking 30s. That's my experience anyways. And I'm going to show you that picture I just pulled up for another friend. I've been as heavy as 210 pounds just because I wasn't healthy. I was drinking like 6 Diet Pepsis a day, like all the aspartame, like eating like a Starbucks caramel macchiato latte, like just bad, and a scone. And I was like, oh, it's a scone. It's not a donut. Like same thing. So I've been here for 2 years, and I think because I've been able to do very targeted efforts, and I've really cleaned up my diet, like nutrition is super key, reduced alcohol, like I have seen muscle definitions, and I love working out here because the ARX workout, which it's like a love-hate. I think almost every client could say that. Be like, damn this machine. But every time I look at my muscles, I'm like, give me more of the machine. But the ARX, it's like, I don't know, it takes me 10 minutes and I do my arms, my chest, my legs, and my hams, and I'm out. And then I do 15 minutes, 10 minutes of cardio. And for someone like myself who has such a full schedule, I do this workout twice a week here when I'm in town and I'm not traveling. And then I supplement with yoga, and we have an at-home gym. And so I love incorporating. I'm wearing church fitness. Like I love going to support other local businesses. So I do what I can where I'm at. And sometimes I'm just doing 10,000 steps in a day. Then I'll be like, I was waiting for someone. I'm like, I'm just going to do some squats. So I'm just trying to move my body. And I think when you have a child that was robbed of movement, like everything, just like I do not take the elevator. I don't think I've taken it in almost 2 years. I take the stairs because I know that that's a gift, a blessing to be able to move my legs, hold my bags, and do all of that. I'm still breathless. I have not figured that part out, but that's a gift. And so if you have a body and you can move it, don't waste it.
And I love that you added the fact that you're supplementing with other things, right? Like, sure, you're going to get a full body workout here in 10, 15 minutes. But this, in conjunction with other lifestyle factors, can be the magic bullet for a lot of people too, right?
Well, and I would say this is what I would knock Eon with. I would say, you guys, figure it out. But I was coming here and then I was forgetting to stretch. I just cut out stretching because I do like a weight type workout, then you do cardio, and then you go straight into a technology, which is amazing, like the Balancer Pro or red light therapy or the sauna. But I used to go to the gym or after a night stretch for 20 minutes. So my hamstrings were crazy and my body craved yoga. So I'm doing yoga twice a week. I go to hot yoga. I absolutely love it. Clears my mind. But like, I don't think there's like this one silver bullet of just do this thing. And that's what I'm learning. And I think when you can tap in and really listen to your body, like even for food, like I've really tuned into that. Like, oh man, I need protein living with ADHD. Like that helps me think clearer, show up better. And same thing, it's like, okay, what does my body need? Okay, it doesn't need a heavy weight workout. And sometimes I've come here and I've had to tell the team, I'm like, I'm here because I want to stay consistent, but I'm going to take it easy today because I'm going to listen to my body. Yeah. And they're great at respecting that. And other days I'm like, I'm going to give it all I got. I'm Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, the kind of the first step that you took was a health assessment, right? So this was a good chance to look under the hood. So like, tell me what that discovered for you, or like, what did you find that you were kind of like,
I had a fatty liver. I had a fatty liver. I was so mad when they gave the results back. And I'm really a pretty open book about my health. And I actually had liver disease when I in high school. So that didn't shock me because I've had liver issues before. But I was like, I don't even drink that much. Like, why do I have an unhealthy liver? So unhealthy liver, iron, which I know because I'm celiac. Typically, you don't get enough iron when you're celiac just because it's in a lot of foods that carry gluten. So that was really, really low, which made sense for some fatigue things and just some other things. And then for the most part, it was like, hey, you're pretty healthy, and nothing was glaring. So I did 3 months here just with some of the supplements, worked out. And then I was kind of frustrated that I didn't see better results. And that's when I was like, I met with the doc here and I was like, like, I feel like I can lose more weight. I don't need to be a stick. I don't want to be a stick. I'm a curvy, like me and Marilyn Monroe are like sisters. Like we got the curves, we're kicking. But I was like, I feel like I can be a better version. And I'm like, carrying the extra weight, it's hard on your body. Like, why do that to yourself? And so we looked at my sugar levels and insulin resistant. I wore CGM, like where you pop that on and you can measure, your sugar spikes. And that was really pretty normal. And so then we took it a step further and we said the next option is for you to use medication to help with weight loss. And I've shared this with you before offline. There's a lot of shame around it. Like I think as a woman who you're like, but I eat the kale salad and I drink the green juice and I've been working out 3 times a week. Like, why can't I do it? And I felt like a failure for a long time. And there was a lot of shame around it. And then people were like, no, you're not disclosing. So full disclosure, I used a medication for weight loss here. And I've gone off of it and I've gone back on it. Over the holidays, I was like, oh my gosh, I think I need to go on it. I don't want to gain the holiday weight because it is such a thing. But it worked for me, and I don't want to have shame around it because I've gotten so many messages in my DMs from Instagram of women saying, thank you for sharing. I was so stuck. I've tried everything. I had a lady, she shared with me, she's like, I just lost 35 pounds. I finally am prioritizing myself, and I feel amazing. Like, thank you for that gift. And if I can help someone feel amazing and like, I'm like, do what works for you. And you've got to be in check with yourself. But if I can help someone figure out a way to get their health back in line, whatever that is, or inspire someone to make themselves a priority so that they can be refreshed, I think we can better serve the world. And if I can better serve the world, I can help change it.
Just like there shouldn't be, you wouldn't have a stigma around someone who goes on a statin for blood pressure.
Totally.
Right. So I'm glad that you brought that up because at the end of the day, if this is something that's going to help with a chronic disease like obesity, this is something that, and I'm not saying,
Yeah. Do your own research. Talk to your own doctor. 100%. Like I'm not a medical expert. I'd like to make that abundantly clear. I think they'll probably put a disclaimer.
Disclaimer.
Yes.
Talk to your doctor.
But like, and this is probably one of the biggest things that I struggle with is like, I want you to love your body. And I could show up in a bathing suit and love my body at 210 pounds. I'm now sitting about 143 on a good day. But I'm like, I've loved my body, but I'm like, was it the best version, the healthiest version of myself? I still have cellulite. I still have stretch marks. They're going to probably be there unless someone has a magic thing for that. But I'm like, I just didn't want to coast or accept it. And that's what I want to encourage women. It's not about being a certain weight or a certain size. It's about, are you the best version of yourself? And so if you can stand proud and say, yes, I am. Yeah, I'm fueling my body. Yes, I'm fueling my brain. And I'm giving the best of the world. Then do you, whatever number that is, whatever size that is. And it's going to look different for all of us. But that's where I just really want to encourage people. Don't just coast and be like, I love my body and I'm 75 pounds overweight. Like, is that the best version? No, then do what you got to do to get there.
Now, with the assessment, we've made some changes. We look at a comprehensive blood test, which looks at over 40 biomarkers. We do a 3D body scan using the Staiku scanner, which
that's a shocker.
It can predict like
Hot
cardiovascular
Ronnie just
risk.
did it, and he was like, "Babe, that was eye opening."
Right?
Yeah.
We got some pictures and videos of him in his skivvies, in his underwear, right? So I'll send you those in your private
Can
DMs.
You please?
Yes, absolutely. There's Hot Ronnie right there for you.
It wouldn't be the first time that he's been online in his skivvies. So
that's what he said. It's funny too. I was like, do you mind if he's like, Jess has me in Speedos on the beach. He's like, there's no problem here. So
if you want to join us on May 25th, we host a birthday party and you can purchase my husband. He doesn't come home with you for the night, but he does get auctioned off. It's all for charity. And he does wear a Speedo. He didn't do it last year and the party wasn't the same. So he's like, fine, I'll wear the dang Speedo again.
Yeah. So after the blood work is done, we do the 3D body scan. We do a strength test.
Yeah.
But a few things that we've added into it to make it a little bit more robust and a little bit more comprehensive. Number one, we've partnered with some AI food technology company.
You just were telling me about this. I want to know more. So tell me what it does.
So essentially what we do is we get someone to sign up on the platform and we ask them to take pictures of their food. And then AI technology, leveraging AI technology at this clinic. We do AI workouts. We're doing AI, everything like that. But what it'll do is it'll give you an idea not only of your macros, so your proteins, fats, carbs, calories, but it'll also look at things like is this more or less processed food? Like, it's really, really interesting to see. And then you meet with a nutrition coach to basically say, hey, this is what we found in your week-long report. So we'll ask people to track their food for like a week.
For a week, okay.
For a week, so that we can get a good picture as to, what their habits are and everything like that. Okay, here's your report. Here's what we found, right?
Are you taking a picture of like your coffee, like, and like what you're having for breakfast? Like the whole kit?
Absolutely.
See, like I we're going to talk about this offline, but I'm just like, dang, like if that is an insight at its finest, because it is exhausting, like calorie counting, whatever. And I think there's so much beauty in AI. How do we utilize this to be better?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like, again, numbers aren't everything, and it's not an equation that we're trying to get you at or anything like that, but it's understanding not only that side of it, but also the ingredients that are coming out of it too, right? To just get a better picture for your overall health and how it can be applicable for you in the future. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing that we've added, is this AI technology kind of food support. And then number 2 is that we're doing more fitness testing and mobility testing with predictors for longevity. So things like grip strength, right? This is actually a really good indicator for people as they get into their later years, right? Like gripping a handrail. Think about it, right? If you have to get yourself upstairs and you don't have the grip strength to get up there, right?
I was thinking about my grandma and like how she's like, can you open the pickles for me? Like, her That's old. Right. And so I'm like, yeah, of course I'll open the pickles. You're 90 years old, Grams. Like, I got you. Mm-hmm. But I was just like, man, I'm so thankful. I feel like I have strong hands, but like, yeah, that's crazy that's a predictor, and it makes so much sense.
That's right. Another one that we're looking, like a sit to stand test. Right? So imagine, heaven forbid, you fall in your 80s, 90s. How are you going to get back up? Right? So to see where we are today and assess that, and to say, okay, this is what we found after your testing, right? This can help predict, your longevity down the road too. Mm-hmm. Then from there, once you're all done, you'll have the analysis from our medical team. So our co-care team, naturopathic doctors and medical doctors, because we really feel that bridges a gap.
That's why I love it here.
Yeah. So you're not just getting like the medical side of things, you're also getting that naturopathic side as well. We'll work with nutrition coaches, fitness coaches, and get that holistic approach. So your husband has gone through this now because, this is something that we gifted to you so that you could gift to him. This is something that
the whole dang family's getting involved now. Right? I was like, you're not going to be able to shake us. We're like a bad stench that just is going to linger. Yeah. No, I was so fortunate. I would call myself an ambassador of Eon. So I've been able to work out here. I obviously promote it because I love it. It changed my life. And I was saying to you, I was like, the shift that's happened in me physically, but also mentally, has been so huge, and ebbed and flowed. Life is a roller coaster. You're doing amazing, and then you run into a hard thing. But it was such a blessing when you're like, hey, we're changing this health assessment. We'd love to walk someone through it. I was like, oh my gosh, please, can we do Hot Ronnie? He was so pumped because he's like, you always get all the cool things. I was like, I share some of them, but he was so excited to be here. So thank you for that gift, for sure.
Of course. Mm-hmm. Well, Jess, I want to acknowledge you. I want to give you the praise that you deserve for constantly showing up, not only for yourself, but for your husband, your family, your kids, and your community. You are building something really, really special here.
Thank
and
you.
2.4 mil is nothing
almost,
to sneeze at, right? So I really want to acknowledge you for constantly showing up. And that is something that helps build community in our small, like Calgary's big, but it's small.
It is.
Right? And so we thank you for showing up constantly.
Thank you. I just encourage people. I think there's so many lessons that I've learned, but one of my favorites, and I just want to acknowledge you. Thank you for acknowledging me. And as a female, we're like, often we'll downplay it, but I'm like, hell no. Thank you. I'm going to take it. I've worked damn hard. And it's not just been me. It's been a community of many people that are in the wings helping me get to where we need to go. But the 3 things that I really hang on to is to show up. That's when I think often the hardest part is to like put yourself out there. Then it's to do the hard work of rolling up your sleeves. But most importantly, you said it, it's just like stay consistent. If you can do that, that is the secret sauce for whatever you're facing in whatever season. And you don't have to do it alone. Don't be afraid to ask for help. To be in the position that I'm in, I've gotten really good at asking for help from my community, from strangers, from my therapist, from a coach, from a fitness facility. Ask for what you need. And I know that taking care of myself isn't selfish. It's the best thing that I can do so I can take care of others and give my best and serve with abundance.
Where can people find out more about you? What are you up to in 2024?
I'm going to find a damn publisher and publish my second book. It's either The Practice of Joy or The Hard Work of Joy. And if a publisher has another idea, I'm open to their ideas. But I really want to publish my book in 2024. It's going to be a stretch because it's usually a long timeline. And if I have to self-publish, I've done it once before. We'll do it again. But I'd prefer not to sling books out of my garage. But again, you know me. I won't stop. I'll find a way. So that's coming up. We're going to raise a butt ton of money again for Love for Lewiston to bless families and Alberta Children's Hospital because we really strongly believe in those programs and how we can help others. And then I'm speaking. I'm doing what I love. I'm so grateful. Put me in a room. Put me in, coach. I'm here to serve. I'm here to help. And I just want to give others the tools that I've accessed and I've learned. And a lot of them are free. It's like, how do you shift your mind? And so follow me on social media. I share a lot of the stuff that I've learned. I've got some great resources and books that you can either download from the library or listen to a podcast. But like geeking out on the neuroscience, I'm going to continue to do that because understanding how my brain is wired changed my life and I think took our relationship to the next level and took how I show up in my world to the next level. So jessicajanzen.com, don't go to .com. I don't even know if it exists. It's .ca, jessicajanzen.ca. Check me out there or on social media. Those are two of the easiest ways. And if you have questions, if something sparks something in my story, I am here to serve. And if I can, I will. If I don't have capacity, I'm also not afraid to say no, but I always try to offer a solution. But I want to support others in their journey to health and wellness.
First book, Bring the Joy?
Bring the Joy is my first book. It's published in 2020. Yeah. We've sold over 10,000 copies from my garage. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Is it still available?
Still available. Good. Amazon. I just got a surprise $4,000 bill. So if you want to buy 2 copies, we appreciate it. But no, it's amazing. And it's also on Audible. I narrate it there. The libraries have it. There was some local bookstores that were carrying it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time today, Jess.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Come
on
in.
We
come
did
on
it.
in. Come on in.
Now we can
right?
move. Now I can move. Thanks, Justin.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in for the Eon Future Health podcast. If you enjoyed this and you enjoyed the content, because we're not just talking about, the structural side of fitness and health and longevity, but we're also talking about the community aspects, the mental health. So leave a 5-star rating on this podcast, on this video, and we would really appreciate it. And send us a message on social media if you want to see more topics like this. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Like, subscribe, all those things.
All those things. Yeah.